when I come home, a lot of times it's past their bedtime, they're already sleeping. So I miss everything, in the day. But, when my oldest was 7, she was asking me, I miss her coach pitch game, and I'm never there for her basketball, and I'm never there for her hula. And man, it just, it broke me. I'm looking at Kaylee trying to help give me a way out, but she's like, that's on you. You got to make them understand. And now she's 13 years old, and Kaiolani just a few weeks ago, this is in the middle of the basketball season. She's asking me like, why do I, Dad, why do you come home after we probably eat dinner, after we're finished eating dinner, why do you come home so late? And so, it's something that I'm definitely a lot more aware of, that I need to really, make the time, because that's, something that we can't take back, right, is time. And so this, this quarantine, this shelter in place is really, really got me to into a place where, man, it's an awesome place, having to spend a lot of this time with my family, and I know they appreciate it, and we've been able to do a lot of things, a lot of reading, getting into some books that I always wanted to read to them. But man, I love them to death, man. My girls they're everything.
There's so many things in that little thing that you shared there that are so powerful, because I think a lot of times we make time, but we're not really present.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I literally have watched your one video of you guys that one day for spring break where you were out at the beach all from the morning all the way to making s'mores at night. And that, I just can feel that that family moment was and is so precious, right? And I think what you're sharing is that, COVID has enabled you, it's forced you to go, you know what, God's putting you in a place where he's going, you know what, you've been giving everything away to the boys in basketball, you've been giving everything away to community, and now I'm going to let you give some to your girls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all of us men are in some ways having to have that wake up call, because I know there were years ago before I started Zemware, I was working for another software company, and I was doing the same thing. I would leave before the kids got up and I would work, man. I was hustling. I was driving a sales team, and I would get home, and one day, I don't know what it was, but it was like 7:00 in the morning, and I'm like making calls, and it's like God spoke to me. It's like, you know what, you're here at work and Judy's getting the kids off to school and you're missing that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm missing that. And the next day, I stayed home. I made breakfast. I turned on some nice spiritual music, nice, calming music, because I'm really big on the music thing, right? Whether it's worship or nice, beach music or something. I'm always playing that in the morning, right? And that day started the day that I've been home every morning ever since, making breakfast. And I tell you, it's made a huge difference. I mean, I'm not a perfect dad. I mean, ask my kids. I mean, this weekend, Dad didn't do so great. But, but overall, really trying to not just make time, but really be present is really, really critical.
Yeah, absolutely. Kelly is always, you need to get off your phone, and, it's either, making a post or, emailing someone back or texting someone back, or, you're there, but you're not there. You're thinking about work. You're thinking about, detail. I got detailing and I got my athletic training side. I'm thinking about, the progress that, this student athlete is making, and the coaches are wanting them back, and timetables, and so it's it's a lot of things that I juggle, but there's no real excuse really. I mean, you need to be present. There's this book by Jason Khalipa. It's called AMRAP, as many reps as possible. And I read that book, and it's on my to read again list. But he talks about that, in as many reps as possible is basically focusing on that task at hand. When you come home at night, you're dad, and it should be 100% dad, and if you're at work, and it's 100% work. And so it's definitely a work in progress. But this time in life where we have a lot of time on our hands, it's definitely come to the forefront, of the mind of really some of my actions.
Oh, that's good, man. I need to make sure that I'm being fully present, because like you said, it's easy even to be in the room and mentally be totally disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's awesome. So if you were to give one or two key tips, what would those be for a dad?
Reading. I've been reading. There's this one book that it's a really short book, really, really short book. And I don't know, I'm a big believer in reading books that will help develop the kids. I'm not really the I don't know, I guess the whole fictional, the entertainment kind of thing. Like I'm kind of big on personal development. And so I kind of want to read them books along those lines, regardless if they're 5, 7, but especially, when she's 13, they need to be reading these kinds of books. But The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And man, I tell you, it's a great book. It's a really short read, but it's an easy read, but it's 100% true, and everybody can relate to it. And so, man, I've been reading it. I read it straight for like the last 2 weeks until they really kind of got the gist of it. And last night we just started reading Make Your Bed by Admiral William McRaven. And so we started that last night. So, I try to read to them a lot more, and also a few, we've been going through Proverbs in the Bible, and just reflecting on that. But reading, man, it's so big, I think, and it's so underrated, as a father, to read to your kids. And so that would be one tip. And then the second would be just that. I mean, the second would be present, be present in the moment, be present with your family, with your kids. Because before you know it, man, they're going to fly the coop, and so that's something that I'm definitely working on. I'm definitely guilty of, and as I'm sure most, all fathers are, or they can be better at it. But yeah, that's one advice I'm definitely gonna take for myself. So that'd be 2 tips.
I love it, man. Well, mahalo. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes and visiting with me. I love the love that I see in you with your kids. And the other thing that I keep thinking about, from our conversation is it's easy to pour into everybody outside of our family, at school and work and community. And sometimes we need to pour into those that are most important. Really, really be present and, invest in that time, because as you're discovering, all of a sudden you blinked and your daughter was 13, you're going to blink again and she'll be going, Dad, which college am I going to?
Yeah, exactly.
it goes so fast. So,
Yeah.
thank you very much, man. So,
Yeah, thank you, Jody. Appreciate you having me on, man. I really appreciate you and what you do. So, thanks for getting us fathers together and having something like this and something where we can all kind of come together and whether it be issues or just sharing a great moment. It's definitely good to have. So I'm grateful for social media and how in a time where we're being told to kept apart, we can still kind of be together. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, that it's like Judy and I talk about a lot. It's like we need to be physical distancing, but we need to be socially connecting. And
Right.
and it's really important, right? It's important. And I think, one of my goals with FathersFyre is to create a bridge between men so that we can talk about in a nice, safe environment about, our struggles. And I think a lot of times we as men struggle with just being honest with ourselves. Just like this weekend, we had a little mix up with the family, and it's because dad, overstepped, typically, me. And I kept telling my wife's talking to me about it, and I'm like, honestly, she was, what are you thinking about? I said, I'm honestly trying to look at myself and see what I was doing wrong, because I don't see it, right? And so I was having to step back and really take a harsh look at myself, a candid, honest look, and go, all right, where did I mess up? What do I need to own? What do I need to change? And sometimes, the load really does rest on your shoulders. But if you're not
Yeah.
willing to look at what the load is and that you're causing the load, you can't fix it.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you joining us. And thank you guys for tuning in every week to FathersFyre as we explore the joys, the challenges, the triumphs, the sorrows, and yes, the fun of being a dad. And I also want to extend the personal invite to join our FathersFyre Facebook group. That's a very, it's a private group where we have an open, candid discussion, probably more so than on this podcast, where we can really grow as men. So I'd invite you to do that. And thank you guys for joining me. We will check you same time, same channel, just next week. See ya.